I used to be in Yankee Hill Ward not too long ago, so a lot of familiar faces, and we were in Pioneer Ward, I think, a really long time ago. But we're in Holmes Lake Ward now. My husband sells real estate, so we have moved 10 times in our 16 years of marriage almost. And this is, one of the reasons I think I became better and better. Each home is a new challenge, and so we've kind of been in every ward, I think, in Lincoln almost. But I'm excited to be here with you tonight. I started about a year ago doing home organizing. So I was telling my husband one night, I was like, I really want a new adventure, like a new challenge, and I'm ready to add like some fun side gig to my life. I'm at that point, and I was like, I would love to do home organizing. Do you know anybody that does this that I could talk to? And because I feel like Heavenly Father's blessed me with a skill set, and I love working with people, and my kids are a little bit older now, and it was just kind of good timing. So he said, yes, I know so-and-so, and so I went to lunch with her and kind of talked to her about the home organizing world in Lincoln, and so just launched my business about a year ago and have just been having fun with it, and been able to meet a lot of new people and work on a lot of different spaces. Sometimes it's almost their whole home, and sometimes it's just a couple troublesome closets or pantry or whatnot. So anyways, I love helping people transform a space that is really overwhelming to them and that they are just fed up with, and they're like, I don't know what to do with this, and they don't know where to start. So it's been really fun to when I see, they'll tell me a lot of times, I hope my house or project doesn't scare you away. And I said, well, nobody has scared me away yet. And I am very odd, and when I see a kind of a mess or chaos or clutter, I see fun. And so I know that most people don't see fun, especially when it's your own items. So anyways, as a working mom of 3 kiddos, I have really learned that, how valuable time is, and how I really need to have a streamlined home to be able to do the things I wanted to do, and I want to be able to share that with other people so that they're not feeling overwhelmed. I know life can get chaotic and such. So when you ladies hear there's no chalk up here, but when you hear the word organized, what phrases or thoughts or things come to mind?
Tomorrow.
Neat.
Neat or together.
Neat or together.
I think I'll do it tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow. That's what a lot of people think.
Streamlined.
Streamlined. Efficient.
Clean.
Clean. Any others?
Too much work.
So some people hear the word organized and they're like, oh, that's a lot of work, I don't want to do it today. And you're feeling overwhelmed or such, and then other people think organized, oh yay, that's neat, I think fun, I know most people don't think that, stuff like that. And so we all kind of have different thoughts that come to mind. But one of the quotes that I love says, organization, it's not about perfection, although I'd be lying if I told you I'm not a little bit of a perfectionist, which is not always a great thing. So, but organization isn't about perfection, it's about efficiency, reducing stress, clutter, saving time and money, and improving your overall quality of life. I really love that because, it's not, we all love the neat, clean space, and I like things to look perfect, but really when it comes down to those important things like time is so valuable to me, to have something that works efficiently in our home so that I can have more time with my family, reducing stress, that's huge. We all less stress, right? We all need less stress. Saving money, that's great. I'll kind of give you some examples of how organization can save money. But yeah, that overall, how that helps improve our quality of life. I really like that. And so, hopefully when you hear the word organized, you don't think, oh, well, my home has to be perfect, because we all have our families, and we know that a perfect home doesn't exist, right? It's not going to be perfect all the time, as much as I would like it to be, but I want it to be efficient, and I want to have systems and things in place that help save me time and help reduce my stress and stuff. So, I also like this quote from Benjamin Franklin: for every minute spent in organizing, an hour is earned. So it does take some time, right? It takes some time to take a room that's chaos or clutter and make it organized. But once it's organized and you're able to stay on top of it, then it ends up saving you a lot of time. And if we have less clutter, then we have less to clean. Is that a good thing? Right? We love spending our days cleaning. So less to clean, less to store, less to organize, less mess, right? So once we clear out some of that clutter, yay for less cleaning and less mess and all those things. So I wanted to share tonight, when they told me you have about 30 minutes, I was like, oh, I could talk for hours about organizing. I know that's geeky, but so I thought 30 minutes. How am I what am I gonna just share in 30 minutes? So we'll talk a little bit about kind of some different rooms and items in the home and such. But when I start working with clients, we typically start with a consultation, and the consultation gives them a chance, one, to meet me and get comfortable with me, because it can get personal pretty fast when you're working in their space. So what we do also during that consultation, though, is I ask them some different questions, so it helps me to be able to better help them. So I talk to them about like the areas that they want to work in with their home. I ask them, what's this space primarily used for? What's the most important use of that space to your family? So think about that. I ask them, what do you like about your space already? Like, what is working for you with this space? Because there's usually some things working for them. And then I want to know from them what's not working and what do you want changed about the space. So we do kind of a little bit of this visioning reflection on how the space is working. What aspects of that room or area of the home are causing them a lot of stress. Thinking about how we can think differently with this space to help save some time and some energy. We talk about what's going to be our timeline for the project, what's realistic, what's that ideal timeline look. And I ask them, like, how do you envision this space looking? If it's your dream storage room or your dream pantry or whatever, how do you envision that space? And think about, how will we know if our organizing project is a success? Like, will they feel, relieved and less stress, or be measured by the ability to look around and say, like, oh man, I feel so much more peace in this room, or this looks great. Or so taking like some reflection time with your space and kind of brainstorming time, and looking at that space and talking with somebody, I think, is helpful, because we need to do some of that planning, and then that makes it more efficient when we start digging in to the actual work of it. So I'd encourage you, if you have like troublesome spaces at home, you think about those certain rooms and just some of those questions. I'm gonna plug this in really quick as we're going. Sorry. So we typically, like I said, I start with that consultation just to be able to give me a better idea and to work efficiently with them and help them create the space that they're envisioning, because it looks different for everybody. So there's not one like right way for a pantry or a storage room or a kid's room, because every family's different. And like I said, I've lived in a lot of different homes. I have this reoccurring nightmare, like once a month almost, that we have moved again. And I'm either painting or there's boxes. And my one last night it was a huge, huge house that I hadn't seen before. And I was like, Brad, ah. So anyways, every home is different, right? I mean, we've lived in a lot of different homes, and what I do in my pantry now is different than my pantry I had 3 years ago, because I had a huge walk-in pantry. And so, you have to be able to work with those different spaces, and if you have real little kids versus, older kids, it's gonna look differently. So I'm gonna share some tips for some different areas of the home and just organizing topics, and feel free to please add in yours as well, and know that maybe some of the tips I share might not be great for you, Carol, but better for somebody else. But the first one I want to start with is, so often when I do that consultation with people, they're like, well, what's like storage system should I buy, or what totes do we need to go get? And they're already thinking all that, and I'm like, well, as much as I love storage totes, and I'm in heaven at the Container Store or the aisles of totes, I mean, I love those, but I say, we will get to that point, but first we're gonna go through your items, because depending on what they end up deciding to keep, the storage system and what we need might be a lot different. And so we first start going through all their items. So let's take, for example, like a bedroom. If we're doing a bedroom, I'll bring like some totes where it's like, okay, this is a tote of everything that's gonna be donated. And then here's a trash sack. There always has to be a trash sack for just trash. And here's a recycle, usually, because you find all sorts of cardboard things hiding. And then sometimes they want to sell stuff at Once Upon a Child or something, and so we might have a sell thing. And then another area of things, like if there's a lot of items that end up going in other rooms that somehow came in the bedroom, instead of like walking and taking each item, we'll kind of put those in a container to then go around at the house at the end of the time and put those where they go. So that would be my suggestion when you're working in the room, like I said, depending on what room it is, but you'll have, that donate, trash, what you might sell, kind of those different little stations that we use. So like I said, it's starting with going through the items. Like we're not going out and buying stuff right away. And I always try to tell people, use what you have. Like I want to use what they have, and I don't want them to have to spend a lot of money in storage containers and different things. Although sometimes, some of those pieces are needed, but we try to keep that cost minimal. So some different tips and things after you have sorted through those items in your different rooms is like with totes, for example, some little things I've learned. And this is probably because I have 3 kiddos right now, but I like to use clear totes. You can see what's in them easily. My kids can see what's in them. If Lincoln can't read the label, he can say, hey, can you get my Legos down? So I'm a big fan of clear totes. And also something that you want to keep in mind is, if I have all these, million pieces of Legos here, I don't want to put them in a tote like this, because this lid is so flimsy, and my kids are going to go down to the playroom and try to reach them, because they can't wait for 2 minutes for me to get down there. They're going to reach it down, and that thing of Legos is going to spill everywhere, and I'm not gonna be too happy, right? So, even though I cost a tiny bit more for some of those totes, I really like I call them latching handles. And so things like all these Legos are in that, because even today I carried this one in and I'm like, that's gonna fall off. So, if it's different items in here, that lid might not be such an issue, but yeah, so clear totes, and then think about the handles, and such. And then I am a big fan of labeling everything. So I love using my label maker. That was one of my favorite Christmas presents my husband has ever bought me, is the label maker. I use that all the time. I like to use my Cricut to make like fun labels and stuff, but just for a lot of the totes I do, is have them labeled, because then when other people are there, especially like with kids and because I do this all the time I try to, when I go other places with my kids, at the end I'm like, can I help clean up? I want to help clean up. But if I don't know where things go, I'm not quite sure. And I'm always telling the women I work with in their homes, because they're always feeling bad. They're like, I can't believe I can't keep up with this on my own, this and that. I'm like, no, stop right there. This is not just your job. Like, this is your family. You and your family together need to figure out a system and need to keep it up together. It is not, in my opinion, not the mom's job to be, in charge of all of that. It should be your family working together to do that. So if I have things labeled, then whoever's putting away knows where it goes. So that's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of labeling. If you're using totes like, for example, like this, I can't put one of these labels on here. It doesn't stick well, so you can, get creative. These are like chipboard things, and you can do stickers or cut that on my Cricut, or like if you have a container like this, I'll just get these cheap little clippy things. Then you could put the label here, or you can do something different and put that here, because not all of your the different containers, does a label lay like that. But what I like about the label maker is then you can easily peel those off. And I've had good luck with them staying well too. So those are some different ideas for depending on what baskets and things that you might have. And also think about what you're putting in there. Like if I have cleaners or shoes or whatever, I want a tote that I can rinse out and wipe out. Sometimes I see people using like fabric totes, and these are really hard to clean up, and they'll have stuff in there that it's like made the tote all nasty, and it doesn't work well with having that being able to last long and stay nice and stuff. So think about what you're putting in there, what type of tote you want. Okay. Does anybody have any of their tips with different totes or storage containers or things that they found helpful?
Okay, just so you know, the one with the pink lid is tapered. It's not too bad, but like
Oh,
so
yes,
if you're buying big bins,
Yes.
for snow clothes or like other
Yes.
stuff, you want it to just be straight like your
That's
other one
true.
that you have.
Yes.
Because then you can actually fit, especially with like decorations. You're
Yes.
storing like Christmas decorations and stuff like
Yes.
that. They're a little trickier to find, but you really, really want to do that because then you're getting like the right like square.
I love that you thought of that, because I didn't think about that, but now that I do in our outbuilding with our containers for decorations for the different seasons, that's so true. I've had to, like, I just recently bought some new ones at Christmas for those straight ones, because if not, some of them don't fit too on that shelf. That's a really good tip. Any other things with like totes or storage containers?
So they can get really expensive, and I'm sure you all know this. Like, I'm gonna spend so much money organizing. But I found like that white one I got at the container store. I got them in a pack of 12, and you can get them for 20% off, and they end up being pretty cheap. But the container store is really expensive, and I've been told if you go to the back, that's where you find the cheaper stuff. That like, so you wouldn't wanna buy, for instance, for your fridge, they have specific ones if you wanna buy for
Yeah,
your
those
fridge,
clear.
but they're like double or triple the
Yeah.
price. Whereas you could buy these cheap ones,
Yeah.
and they work just the same. And
Yeah.
also the Target, if you have the Target app, a lot of times they'll do like 20% off or something off theirs.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's true, you know, it can add up. So for example, this is from Dollar General. Some of these metal baskets can be expensive. I think it was $5. Another good place in Lincoln I find them that I like is Home Goods. Like they had these curved knit ones that I loved, and they came in different packs. And so sometimes Home Goods, some of these I found at Dollar General and Hickman as well, and on a good sale, like random clearance. So I try to keep my eyes open for some of those, because as much as I love storage containers and totes, I also don't want to spend an arm and a leg on them. Did you have one, Valerie?
Yeah, Sam's Club has them in bulk as well.
Yes.
They're white and they're clear
Yes.
and they're looking for a lot of stuff to store things in.
Yes,
Perfect.
yeah, they had a
Yeah.
bunch recently. And Walmart too, when Jonelle and I were doing a project, you found a lot on Walmart's website as well that were good price, that I felt like were good ones too.
For quick containers, and I mean, we've been known to recycle some of our cardboard boxes too, and just nicely wrapping it. I mean, if I want them to look nice, especially for some of the kids' stuff that gets destroyed sometimes,
Yes.
like books or things that stick out, we'll wrap those in either like wrapping paper or things. And there's ways of making things
Yes.
look nice that just come with already stuff. Like today, I mean, it's kind of silly, but today, like, I got this Chobani box from Sam's Club, and it has this nice fold lid, and it closes, and I was like, ooh, this is getting wrapped. Like,
I recently, when I did a kid's bedroom, the drawer with socks and underwear and swimsuits and whatnot was like out of control. And I said, do you have any shoe boxes? And I hung up the lid and used shoe boxes instead of buying something like this. It was the same thing. We took shoe boxes in that drawer and used shoe boxes to, here's socks, here's underwear and whatnot. So that's a good point. And even when I was reading Marie Kondo's book recently, The Magic of Tidying, it was hilarious because she was talking about how you should use shoe boxes in drawers, and there's some really cool shoe boxes out there and whatnot. So that's fun. So that's a good, we'll move into talking about clothes. Clothes is one of the big things, right? So those of you with kiddos, I have 3, and I had no idea when I had kiddos that like this whole clothing management that you had to figure out was like intense. Like, oh my goodness, I can see how this can get hard, keeping up with them growing so quickly, and then how am I going to store this and keep track of it for when the next one might need it, and it gets a little bit crazy. I learned. So I suggest, especially kids' clothes, going through them often. So I have a few friends in here that know that I bring them, ask. I always try to make sure you ask before you take stuff to a house. Like, you want clothes. Like poor Katie would have one on her porch, every couple of weeks, a sack of clothes. And she was always like,
No
yes,
complaint.
that's great. But we went through them often. Like I learned, I'm gonna go through the clothes for my kiddos often now that the girls are older. I have them go through them. I kind of put together a few questions to think about when we're trying to decide about what clothes to keep and what clothes to get rid of. So here's a few key questions, I think. One, does it fit? Like, do these clothes fit? When's the last time I wore this? So if any of you follow my Facebook page, I just posted recently how I finally donated my 3 prom dresses that I found in a tote in the outbuilding. I was like, why do I have these? I do not need these. And I have pictures of me in them and fun high school memories, and that's good for me, you know. I last wore that 20-some years ago, you know. Do I feel good when I wear it? Like, I want clothes that I feel comfortable and confident in. If I were shopping right now, would I buy this? And will I ever wear this again? So, as we're sorting through clothes with clients, I don't ask them all those 5 questions for each, you know, item of clothing, but we kind of talk about it, you know, what are you wanting to keep? And I am like, get it out of your drawers and closets, and recently I had Maya and Brad go through their t-shirts, so I was like, this is nuts. All of a sudden I felt like the t-shirts multiplied overnight or something. All those t-shirts, I mean, donated a huge sack of just t-shirts, you know, but sometimes you don't realize till you kind of take it out and get it out, like how much was in those closets. And now I have found I have gotten pickier and pickier about what I'll buy for clothes. So my wardrobe is not huge, and I don't buy a ton of clothes anymore because I feel like I've gotten so picky, because now that I've done many donation drives of trunkfuls of stuff, and I'm like, oh, I really, papers with kids, papers and papers, right? We go through their bags almost every day, and I have a wire file cabinet holder thing, so that there's, for each of my 3 kids, there's one, I should have brought it, but there's one wire folder. Does that make sense? And it's in my kitchen, because that's where I have kind of what I call, or you've probably heard of, like command centers, where there's like your schedule, and maybe your menu, and some place for bills, or and kiddo stuff, so that the things like spelling lists or field trip papers are the things that I know I have to be using that week, and then or filling out and sending back, so I don't lose them. There's a picture on each of their file things, so everything is there. And then my fridge and my counters aren't like overflowing with kid papers. And then one of the things I do with my kiddos stuff for what we want to keep is I just have one of these like hanging file folder totes. So this is Maddie's, and then for each grade, like this is her preschool one. So I put pre-K and the years she was in and the teachers. And Maya's in 5th grade this year, and I think we'll be able to fit her 5th grade folder, and it would be pre-K through 5, like everything I wanted to keep in there. And so I've done that for each year, and it's really helpful. They love pulling it out and looking at that. So some of those papers I want to save, but we don't need right away. I'll put in the tote, and I kind of have these handy that I can add. And then at the end of the year, we go through them together, because there ends up being some stuff that they didn't want to keep after they see everything else. So as the girls have gotten older, they have kind of helped also decide what they want to keep and not keep. So this system has worked well for our school memorabilia stuff, so that hopefully, you know, when I go to do their senior things, that will ease the burden a little bit on that. I wish I had hours to sit with you ladies and talk about organizing. One of the other things I wanted to touch quickly on is pantries, right? Pantries sometimes can be hard, and I cannot tell you how many big garbage bags of food I have thrown away, because as I do pantries with people, I ask, is it okay if we throw away the things that are expired? And so typically they always say yes, but I do always ask. And I have thrown away a lot of food. And we talked about being organized saves us money. It's thrown away too many dollars worth of food because it's really expired. And so when they have no system, or they have a really difficult pantry to work with, and things get hidden, or you're not going through it often, then it's just bound to be one of those things that might get thrown away. So I also told you I have a smaller pantry now. So we do get a lot of things at Sam's Club, but I can't keep all these boxes in my small pantry. And so like I'll do like a snacks thing and put some from each box, and then what's left from those other 3 boxes put in one and kind of underneath. I'm a big fan of taking stuff out of your packaging when you can, and and then my kids can pull this out and grab a snack. So that's one tip. And I try, it doesn't happen every week. I usually do grocery shopping once a week. So I try to straighten up my pantry and my fridge before I go grocery shopping. I'll kind of clean out my fridge, throw away leftovers, straighten up the pantry. And so once I work towards getting clients organized, I call it like, then they have to do maintenance organization. So they kind of think sometimes that once I got them to that point, it will stay that way. It doesn't stay that way, friends. I was telling the gal with the papers, like, okay, take 10 minutes, once a week and try to go through those papers so they don't get out of control again. So you have to do this maintenance organization. But that helps keep my pantry and fridge a little bit better. If you have like a deep pantry, we use some of these stackable totes, and then you fold these down, it can stack, but, so like this, cereal, but anyways, and like this is a cute idea, like here, putting the oatmeal packets in this container. This is Jonelle's, I'm demoing hers, that was all her on this one, so that's cute. But these were helpful because, like I said, every pantry is really different. Some are really hard, and so you have to figure out different things that are going to work in that pantry. The last one I'll give a few tips on is, I think the most popular room I did last year was storage rooms. Why do you think that might be?
It's easy to dump stuff in there.
Easy to dump, and it's not like a room everybody's seeing, and it's a hodgepodge of stuff, right? It's a little bit of everything, and people dread their storage room. And so I think that's one, like, they really need somebody to help. Just be there, be accountable. We're doing this today, right? We're doing it today, not tomorrow. But that's one of the hardest things. And so, really figuring out a system for your storage room and labeling things and figuring it out, because, storage rooms can get out of control pretty quickly as well. So, I love this. Nobody ever said I regret organizing my house. I promise you, I know it takes time, but you will not regret it. The most rewarding thing to me, working with people that from the first time I've met them at consultation, they're very overwhelmed and stressed with their home, and they don't enjoy being in their home, especially when the bulk of the home is that status, and that's really sad to me. I want them to enjoy their space. Like, I want them to be able to relax and have that home away from the world. But sometimes when there's so much physical clutter and all that, creates mental clutter, right? In Doctrine and Covenants, section 88, verse 119, it says, organize yourselves, prepare every needful thing, and establish a house, even a house of prayer, a house of fasting, a house of faith, a house of learning, a house of glory, a house of order, a house of God. So order is characteristic of our Lord's work, isn't it? And in Doctrine and Covenants, section 132, verse 8, it says, behold, mine house is a house of order, saith the Lord, and not a house of confusion. So our own homes can be a house of the Lord. And a house of order should be a home where we try to do as Jesus taught. And it's a home where we can feel peace and we can feel love. And Heavenly Father wants us to work together with our family to make it a happy, peaceful place where we can have the Spirit. And I think as we talked about earlier, it's not perfection, doesn't have to be perfect, but as it's more efficient and you have these different systems in place, it just helps so much all around with that overall quality of life. So the last quote I'll end with is, a home that is filled with only the things you love and use will be a home that you love to use. And I love that quote. Not by me, but by Mr. Becker. But anyways, I want to end with that. Thank you for letting me come present. I know I went way over time, Lillian. I'm sorry. Again, I knew it was probably when they told me 30 minutes. So, anyways, but thank you. I will